everyone, I'm Chantal Broderick, and on behalf of the Fitness Business Podcast, I am thrilled to welcome our newest podcast partner, longtime friend of the show, former three-time guest who first appeared with us back in 2017. He's the founder and CEO of Discover Strength, Luke Carlson. Welcome. It is so great to see you.
It's my pleasure. It's great to see you as well.
Now, Luke, I've got to say a lot has changed since we first caught up in 2017. And today we are going to be chatting about the really significant and very exciting evolution in the life of Discover Strength. So do you want to tell us today all about the Discover Strength personal training franchise?
Yeah, of course. So Chantel, thank you for connecting with me and letting me share this. Our business has been around since 2006, starting with one single personal training studio. And over the years, we've grown to 7 locations. And over the last 3 years, our team has had the discussion around whether or not we should franchise as part of our scaling strategy. And so we started discussing the pros and the cons. And if we were going to franchise, I had to understand why we were franchising. I needed to understand, like, is this really the kind of business that I want to be a part of going forward? And ultimately franchising, I mean, the reason why it was a 100% yes, this is the direction we need to move, was that franchising allowed me and my leadership team to really live out our passions. And there's really probably just 2 core passions that we're able to live out. One is developing fitness professionals. I mean, it's all I've ever done since I was, since the year 2000, developing fitness professionals, but specifically strength training practitioners, personal trainers, strength coaches. It's a passion. The other passion is developing leaders and managers and entrepreneurs. And I've done so much of that in my own organization. But frankly, before COVID, I was in a plane every single week of the year somewhere speaking about entrepreneurship or business or leadership or strategy. And I thought, I love this, but I would love to combine the 2 passions, and I would love to do it and have it all contribute to one overarching purpose, one organization. So ultimately we said, well, franchising is a great way for us to do that. We can live the passion of developing fitness professionals. We can live out this passion of helping leaders and managers and entrepreneurs get more out of their work.
So let's actually dive into that with a little bit more detail, Luke, because I've had the privilege of seeing you speak and develop those people in the way that you just shared with us. But let's actually put ourselves in the shoes of a personal trainer out there. If they were to be interested in getting involved in the Discover Strength personal training franchise, what does that actually look like? What does that opportunity look like for them?
Yeah. So our franchise is, if you've heard me speak before, you know that I'm just obsessed with the concept of strategic niche. The idea that the strength of a brand is directly related or inversely related to the scope of the brand. So the more that a brand does, the weaker the brand becomes. And the less that a brand does, the stronger it becomes. And fitness as a whole, we've really struggled with this because I think so many of our fitness entrepreneurs and personal trainers were into all things fitness. So we've included all things fitness in our offerings. And what that does is it really creates weak brands. And we see so many other industries that are able to develop strategic niches and really grow strong brands because they're doing less. Well, this has been my literal obsession for 15 years. And so in our brand, all we do is what we call personalized strength training. And personalized strength training just means it's one-on-one and it's small group. And small group is defined as a 3-to-1 ratio, one-on-one in small group strength training. And that's it. Now, I love cardio. Before we jumped on, we were talking about the last race we've run. I love cardio and I love talking about nutrition. I love recovery modalities. I love all the things that we see in the Modern Health Club. We're not going to do any of it except for personalized strength training. So we want to have a discipline around that. So when we think about a personal trainer interested in the franchise offering, they should be passionate about strength training because that's all we do. We're not doing fitness broadly. We are doing just strength training. Then to move forward, we think they have to have a passion for 2 things. They have to have a passion for leadership and management. They ultimately have to believe that at the end of the day, you change someone's life when you lead them and when you manage them. And leadership and management are different. They both matter. And frankly, I think that's the greatest way that you can, I mean, outside of our spouse, maybe, our direct manager is going to have the greatest impact on the happiness or misery in our lives, not just our work, in our lives. And so we think you change someone's life by managing them and leading them effectively. So you have to believe that. It has to be a passion of yours. You want to grow as a leader and manager. That's number one. And then the other passion is you have to be passionate about customer experience. We say if you don't want to build the greatest customer service company in the world, you probably shouldn't move forward with us. Now, that's all framed up by this strategic niche of personalized strength training, but it's important for that personal trainer to know it's not enough just to care about personal training, because we're going to go deep on leadership and management, and we're going to go deep on customer service and customer experience. And there's other companies that do that well. Like I love hotels and restaurants and these other industries that really have hospitality or customer experience nailed down, and they're really good at leadership and management. But at the end of the day, to me, I like working out. I like strength training more than I like hotels and more than I like restaurants. And so it's a combination of all of these passions. And so the ideal franchise partner for us is someone who wants to spend their life working in strength training, but says, hey, leadership and management is so incredibly meaningful. And I want to be a part of building a great customer service company.
Luke, given the vast experience that you have in mentoring trainers and growing leaders, does that mean that this opportunity would be suitable for someone who is perhaps a newly qualified personal trainer, someone who is just stepping into the industry, or would you say it's best for someone who's been established for a little while? Maybe they've been working under a big brand business, maybe they've been doing outdoor training. In your mind, who is that person?
Yeah, what a great question. I think they need enough experience to know what they like and what they don't like. And I think you only understand that, you develop that understanding by actually experiencing some things. You have to work and have jobs and work in different settings and say, this is something I'm passionate about. And this is a setting I see myself in. And this I thought I'd be interested in. I went through my undergraduate degree thinking this is the environment I wanted to work in. And I find out maybe it's not right for me. So I think it's someone with enough experience to understand I've done this and I don't love it. And I've got a little taste of this and I want more of it. So there's a degree of experience involved there, I think.
You know, whenever I think about if I was to wind back the clock to when I first started training and all of the opportunities that are out there, it can be quite overwhelming, really, to understand and to choose what am I going to do. And I always feel that one of the areas that people are challenged by is not having, not being able to reach out for someone for resources or guidance or just seeing how it's been done before, learning how it's been done before. And in my mind, that is one of the biggest benefits of being part of a group and part of a franchise, is that you are learning from people that have walked in your footsteps. They have been there, they have done that before. Just tell us a little bit, to give us a bit of background, because I think when we first caught up in 2017, you might have had 2 locations for Discover Strength and you've grown over the years. What has been that secret sauce? What is it that you have learned that you would pass on to the people that get involved in a Discover Strength personal training franchise?
Yeah. So the key to any franchise system is you have to have great systems, right? That's what you're purchasing when you purchase a franchise. When you purchase a McDonald's franchise, I want to have systems in place where if I follow the systems, if I run the play, my cheeseburger and fries are going to turn out the same in Tokyo as they turned out in New York. So that's the idea. We want the workout experience. And I never say just the workout experience. That means everything around that workout should be the same experience regardless of where we go. But also as an employee, the employment experience, how I'm managed, how I'm uplifted, how I'm developed as an employee should be very, very similar across all of our locations, regardless of where you are in the country or where you are in the world. So what we've spent the last 14 years doing as a business, not a franchise, is really perfecting those systems. I mean, we have a manual for, every single aspect of the business. And one of your guests on the podcast, Sherry McMillan, she inspired me around systems many, many, many years ago. And I read Michael Gerber and I got into the idea of systems, and I thought, we're going to systematize all of it. Gerber said, you systematize it like you are going to franchise, even if you're not going to franchise. And that allows you as an owner to step away, and the business continues to produce results without you actually being there. So we did that years ago, and we've combined that now with some just fantastic franchise consultants to say, how do we make those systems even more appropriate for the franchise world? And so I love systems, and I love the synergy between having great systems and your ability to grow a franchise concept. So I think that's one of the real keys. And then I think a key to any business, and this is so often overlooked, is you need great strategy. So I have this controversial opinion that most businesses, and in our industry, I think it's most businesses, compete in the absence of strategy. So we misuse the word strategy all the time. Like, strategy is like love, right? It's a word. What does it really mean? And I think strategy in its most basic form, it just means being intentional about how you will differentiate. And you have to take strategy out of the ivory tower and be able to use it. And I think we have a really strong strategy that our franchisees can benefit from. Where so many fitness concepts, it's a great workout, and there's great people involved, and there's actually great operators and some great systems, but all of that in absence of strategy, I don't think is enough. And it's enough unless there's competition, right? And we're in a space where there's just constant increase in competition. So we need strategy even more when there's competition.
Luke, let me ask you this. If I was to interview one of your members who attend Discover Strength, what would they say about their experience working out at Discover Strength?
Yeah. Well, I hope the first thing they would say, and I'm pretty certain that the first thing they would say, is that they don't go anywhere. They don't do business anywhere where there's better customer service or better customer experience. And then they would say something along the lines of, I don't know where you're finding these people, but your staff, they're all just phenomenal. I used to think that I should just work with one staff member or one trainer, but I find out that they're all like that. There's just a level of consistency. And then I hope they would say, and I've been to 3 of your locations, and it doesn't matter which location I go to, it's the same experience over and over. So those are the things we hear the most often. And frankly, those are the things that we really want to hear, that consistent customer experience. Then the next thing they would say is, I've never worked so hard in my life. I've never got better fitness results in less time. I've never spent less time working out and getting better results. So it'd be something along the lines of, the customer service is exceptional, and they'd always compare it to other brands. And then number 2 is, I'm getting in great shape and working out less than I ever thought I had to work out.
Look, you know what, it's been so interesting sort of hearing about different aspects of Discover Strength and starting to learn about Discover Strength franchise opportunity. And as you've been talking about strategy and everything that's involved, it's occurred to me that owning a franchise and being involved and stepping foot into this franchise opportunity isn't just for our trainers out there. The scope is actually a lot broader. That's what I'm hearing from this. Would I be correct in saying that?
Absolutely. We think the ideal franchisee, the ideal franchise partner with us is, it's a personal trainer who's been training in a gym, in a studio, and now they want to own the studio, they want to own the gym. But it's also someone that's operated the big box club, and they say, I've operated 60,000 and 90,000 square feet, but my real passion is for strength training, and instead of operating it, I'd like to operate it and own it. And then further to the other end of the spectrum, we're looking at people that have owned other franchise concepts. They have 20 different units in their portfolio, and they look at our opportunity as, wow, this is a great investment. I'm not going to operate the business. I'm not going to run the day-to-day, but I want a number of Discover Strength locations or studios in my portfolio of other franchises. I just look at it as an investment. And we are equally thrilled about all of those franchise partners or potential partners.
I've got to say that makes complete sense. I must say, here in Australia, I know a few people that own franchises, and they love being a part of that business. And some of them aren't necessarily initially from the fitness industry. So it just goes to show that there really are candidates out there. And I think what I would say to the FBP family who are watching right now is, if you are listening to what we've talked about, and if you feel connected to the strategy that Luke's talked about, if you feel connected to the experience that we've talked about how members actually feel about Discover Strength, then don't just keep this little secret for yourself. Make sure you go out and tell your family or your friends or your colleagues or people that you feel could benefit from being part of a Discover Strength personal training franchise. So I think that brings us to the all-important point, Luke, which is, how do people actually chat to you? How do they get connected and find out more about becoming involved?
Yeah, a great first step is to go to our franchising website. So it's discoverstrengthfranchise.com, which is different than discoverstrength.com. So discoverstrengthfranchise.com, and then they can look through the material there and they can download the brochure. The first step would be, it's a 10-minute phone call where we learn a little bit more about you, you learn more about us, you progress from there. Eventually you're going to schedule a webinar with me, and we're going to spend a good hour, a good 90 minutes going over what does the concept look like. And then we just go on a journey of mutual discovery. We're constantly learning about you and you're constantly learning about us. And we decide, is it a good partnership? But start with the website, discoverstrengthfranchise.com.
Sounds perfect. Well, Luke, I want to say thank you so much. It's always a pleasure catching up with you. I am so thrilled that you are now part of the FBP family as a podcast partner. I was thrilled when I heard the news that you have evolved into the Discover Strength personal training franchise. So congratulations to yourself and to all of the team. I know how much work you would have put into developing this. And I just want to encourage all of the FBP family out there, make sure you go on, check out that information that Luke mentioned. Make sure you go to the website. We will put the website details just underneath this video to make it nice and easy for you. So Luke Carlson, as always, an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining me today.
It was my pleasure, Chantel. Thank you so much. And we're going to go deep on customer service and customer experience. And there's other companies that do that well. Like I